offer you these two problems. I told you I'm at an independent assisted living facility, and one day the ombudsman who came there suggested to me I start a class there, offer a class for the residents. So I said to the activities person, I'll have a class, fun with math and Evelyn. Fun with math and Evelyn. Well, the facility has about 50 people. You can guess how many people are showing up. But I told them that about 4 or 5 show up. And most of them, I really think they are afraid to show up for fear that they'll look, unprepared. But anyway, I told them I will continue to provide the class every second and fourth Monday. So if you're interested in coming to Spring House in Silver Spring on the second and fourth Monday, you can come to my math class.
Just don't go down 95.
Just don't go down,
down
25. Yeah. She'll tell you how to get there. Okay.
Sir, are there any questions for Dr. Granville? Yes.
It's a very simple question.
Remember, I'm half deaf.
Question. When you were younger, did you think in terms of math, like the cheapest loaf of bread, is it the 1 2 for $1 or the 1 3 for $1?
No,
did you think in terms
No,
of math?
I didn't think of that. We were lucky to have a loaf of bread. No, I didn't think in terms of that, no. But I was always good in math, and I had some very good math teachers at high school. I always mentioned Mary Cromwell, who was my homeroom teacher, University of Pennsylvania graduate, and it was her family who encouraged me to go to Smith. And also, there was a math teacher, Ulysses S. Grant Bassett, Mr. Bassett, and he walked very straight all the time, very straight. And his famous word was wool gathering, stop your wool gathering. But Mr. Bassett was an excellent math teacher, and later I learned that he was also a Yale graduate, and the reason he had walked stiffly, he hurt his back playing football. But I had good math teachers. Well, all the teachers in my day were excellent because they were well trained. And of course, you got the cream of the crop, because how many professions were open then to colored women? How many? Teaching, right? A few nurses maybe, but so we always had the cream of the crop. Yes.
Question?
Yes.
Yeah, what would you say is the
A little louder, please.
Yeah, over the years of your experience teaching and so on, right? How would you describe the best mathematics teacher?
The best trained mathematics teacher.
In what sense?
The best trained. The one who has really studied mathematics and beyond, has gotten as much training in mathematics as possible. Yes. And also one who cares who wants to teach, and who considers teaching not a paycheck but a service to mankind. Right? I see this at Spring House, Silver Spring. There are assisted care people there. There are aides, and there are aides who care, and there are aides who are getting a paycheck. And it makes all the difference in the world. Yes. Unless you have a heart for what you do, don't do it. You will not get satisfaction, and you will not give others satisfaction. Right? Amen.
Dr. Granville, at what age did you start to see that being a mathematician was going to change your financial situation and make you able to provide? When did you notice the benefits of this? I mean, because when you're going to college, first of all, you're grateful, you're blessed to be able to go to college, but all the other areas that you could go in where you immediately have a job, when did you realize that being a mathematician was gonna be financially beneficial to you and your family?
Well, no, when did I realize going to college would be? When I lived on Ontario Road in Washington, DC. And on Ontario Road, there was a lady, Mrs. Dishman, who was a teacher. And I tell this all the time. The children, we in the neighborhood loved to go to Mrs. Dishman's house. Mrs. Dishman's house had beautiful wax floors. She had a lovely home. She drove a big car. In those days, we all lived together, right? You didn't have, we weren't separated by income levels. And I always said, of course at that time, because of professions for women were limited to teaching, I said, I'm going to be a teacher because I want a house and I want to live like Mrs. Dishman. And that was my inspiration. It just so happened that I discovered that I was good in math, and that was my strong point, and that's what I should major in. But it was the idea that I could live like Mrs. Dishman and have a lovely home, drive a big car. Now, in those days, cars were all big. They were humongous then, yeah. But I mean, I could have a good living. And so that's, and of course, we were all encouraged to go to college. There was no question about going to college.
But you had to have, at some point, never thought that being a math teacher would lead you to NASA.
No, oh heavens, no, no, no.
I mean,
heavens,
that's
no.
like going to the moon.
Well, as a matter of fact, when I was at college at Smith, I really had 3 majors in a way. I majored in math, I took a lot of physics, and I took a lot of astronomy. And I loved astronomy. I really loved astronomy. But at that time, back in the 40s, the only job for an astronomer would be in an isolated observatory out in the middle of nowhere. And I said, no, I don't want that kind of life. But if I had known that the space program was in the future, I would have become an astronomer. I would have majored in astronomy. Yeah, because I love astronomy. But